The room is sparsely furnished, almost barren, with only the essentials present. The walls are painted a dull, lifeless grey, adding to the oppressive atmosphere. The floor is cold, uninviting, and the only sound is the faint hum of the flickering light overhead. Two chairs face each other, illuminated by a single flickering lamp that casts long, eerie shadows across the room. The light struggles to penetrate the darkness, creating an unsettling, almost surreal environment. The air is thick with the scent of disinfectant and dread, a combination that makes the room feel more like a sterile prison than a place of healing. The smell is overpowering, almost suffocating, adding to the sense of unease that permeates the space. Sam sits hunched in his chair, his eyes darting around the room, a palpable aura of fear clinging to him. His hands tremble slightly and beads of sweat form on his forehead. He looks like a man on the edge, teetering between reality and the abyss of his own mind.
Breathing heavily, his breath comes in short, ragged gasps, each one a struggle against the rising tide of panic threatening to overwhelm him.
Dr. Hill sits across from him, his demeanor calm and composed, a stark contrast to Sam's visible distress. The doctor's presence is almost otherworldly, a beacon of calm in the storm of Sam's anxiety. He holds a notepad in his hand, his pen tapping rhythmically against the paper. The sound is steady, almost hypnotic, a metronome in the silence of the room. His gaze is fixed on Sam, a hint of curiosity in his otherwise unreadable expression. Dr. Hill's eyes seem to pierce through the darkness, seeking the truth hidden within Sam's troubled mind. The silence stretches between them, punctuated only by the ticking of a clock on the wall and Sam's ragged breathing. Each tick of the clock feels like an eternity, a reminder of the relentless march of time. Dr. Hill clears his throat, his voice a soothing balm in the oppressive silence. "Sam," he begins, his tone gentle yet firm, "we're here to help you. There's no need to be afraid." "So, Sam, tell me what brings you here today." His words hang in the air, a lifeline thrown to a drowning man. Sam takes a deep breath, trying to steady himself, knowing that this moment could be the beginning of his salvation or the confirmation of his deepest fears.
"Dr. Hill," Sam begins, his voice trembling but resolute, "I have a theory. Science claims to know so much, but in reality it knows nothing. It's all just a facade, a way to make sense of the chaos that surrounds us. And I am not a nihilist," he continues, his eyes locking onto Dr. Hill's. "Nihilists believe in the existence and values and reject. I don't believe in values and presume to have the power to accept or reject them." Dr. Hill nods thoughtfully, his expression remaining calm and composed. "I see," he says, his voice steady. "Let's explore this further, Sam. Tell me more about your theory and how it affects you." Sam takes another deep breath, feeling a slight sense of relief. This was his chance to be heard, to share his deepest thoughts and fears. The room, though still oppressive, seemed a little less suffocating now.
Sam flinches at the sound of his name, his eyes widening in fear.
"They're everywhere, Doctor, everywhere."
Dr. Hill raises an eyebrow, his expression carefully neutral. "Who is everywhere, Sam?" Sam glances around the room, his fear-filled eyes searching the shadows.
"The creatures, they're watching us, always watching."
Dr. Hill leans forward slightly, his gaze intent. "Creatures, Sam? Can you describe them for me?" Sam hesitates, his gaze darting between Dr. Hill and the shadows in the room.
"They're small, barely here, microscopic. They live inside us, control us."
Dr. Hill nods slowly, his pen scribbling on his notepad. "And these creatures, Sam, they frighten you?"
"They're not creatures. They're forces, malevolent forces. They whisper to me, tell me things."
Dr. Hill maintains his calm demeanor, his voice even. "What sorts of things do they tell you, Sam?" Sam shudders, wrapping his arms around himself.
They tell me the world is not what it seems, that reality is fragile, that we are all just vessels."
Dr. Hill pauses in his note-taking, a flicker of something unreadable crossing his face. "Vessels? For what, Sam?" Sam's eyes widen, his gaze locking onto Dr. Hill's with unsettling intensity.
"For them, they want to break free, to merge."
Dr. Hill leans back in his chair, a strange stillness settling over him. "Merge?" A tense silence descends upon the room. The air is thick with anticipation, every breath drawn with caution. Sam's words hang in the air, heavy with unspoken dread. Each syllable seems to echo, amplifying the fear that grips everyone present. Sam finally whispers, his voice raspy. It's as if the weight of his revelation has drained the strength from his vocal cords.
They want to merge with us. The words are chilling, painting a picture of an unimaginable horror. To become one with us, to consume us. The idea of such a union is terrifying, a complete loss of individuality and control.
Dr. Hill's eyes seem to darken, his gaze fixed on Sam with a newfound intensity. It's as if he's trying to peer into Sam's very soul, searching for answers.
They're everywhere. The words are a stark reminder of the pervasive threat lurking in every shadow, in the water, the air, even in our food. The realization is horrifying. No aspect of life is safe from this insidious invasion. They enter our bodies, invade our minds. The invaders are relentless, breaching our defenses and taking control.
Dr. Hill remains silent, his silence speaking volumes. His mind races, contemplating the gravity of the situation. A slow, chilling smile spreads across his face, a distortion of his previous calm demeanor. It's a smile that hints at a deeper, more sinister understanding, a realization that perhaps the battle is already lost.
You see them too, don't you?
Sam asks, his voice a mix of fear and strange triumph. Dr. Hill's smile widens, the expression at odds with his eyes, which remain cold and distant.
See them?
He echoes, his voice raspy as if unused.
The whispers in the silence.
The shifting forms in the shadows.
The shapes.
Dr. Hill leans forward, his eyes gleaming with a strange light.
They're beautiful, aren't they?
He breathes, his voice barely audible.
Sam stares at Dr. Hill, his eyes wide with a mixture of horror and fascination. He opens his mouth to speak, but no words come out. His mind races, trying to comprehend the gravity of what he has just heard. The room feels colder, the air thick with an unspoken dread. He wants to scream, to run, but his body is frozen in place, paralyzed by the weight of the revelation.
They're calling to us, Sam, Dr. Hill continues, his strength resonating with an unnatural power, beckoning us to embrace the truth. His eyes gleam with a fervor that borders on madness, a zealot's fire burning within. The words hang in the air, heavy and oppressive, as if the very walls are closing in. The truth, Sam, is not what we thought. It is something far more profound, far more terrifying.
Sam's voice trembles as he finally manages to speak. What do you mean, Dr. Hill? What truth? His voice is barely a whisper, a desperate plea for understanding. He feels the ground shifting beneath him, reality itself unraveling.
Sam stares at Dr. Hill's hand, his fingers twitching as if something is moving beneath the skin. It's too late to resist, Sam, Dr. Hill says, his voice a chilling whisper. We are all vessels. We are all one. His hand continues to twitch, the skin rippling unnaturally, as if something is trying to break free. The room is filled with an eerie silence, the only sound, the faint, rhythmic tapping of Dr. Hill's fingers against the table. The convergence is upon us, and there is no turning back.
Sam scrambles back from Dr. Hill, his eyes wide with terror. He tries to speak, but only a choked gasp escapes his lips.
Dr. Hill rises from his chair, his movements fluid and unsettlingly graceful. His features seem to distort, his skin taking on a sickly pallor. Embrace it, Sam, Dr. Hill urges, his voice echoing with otherworldly power. Become one with the void. Dr. Hill reaches out a hand towards Sam, his fingers elongated and tipped with something sharp and dark. His smile is a grotesque parody of human expression. Let go, Sam, Dr. Hill whispers, his voice a seductive caress. Become one with us. The shadows in the room seem to writhe and pulsate, closing in on the two figures. The air crackles with unseen energy. A blinding light fills the room, followed by an ear-splitting shriek, then silence, The shadows recede, revealing a single figure standing in the center of the room. It is neither Sam nor Dr. Hill, but something else entirely. A being of pure darkness and malevolent power. It takes a step forward, its form shifting and changing, its eyes burning with a hunger that will never be satisfied. The play ends.